Hi, my name is Suta Kavari. I am a Northwest University alumni. I studied here in 2009. I studied economics and risk management. I'm going to tell you a quick funny story. In high school, I had economics, and economics is one of my hardest subjects. I, for some reason, just couldn't crack it. And I remember in my final matric exam, I passed it with flying colors, and then I thought, oh, I finally cracked it and I could study economics. And I studied economics, which was very foundational in how I viewed the world, how I approached the world, and my understanding of how the world works. And there's something about studying macroeconomics and how interconnected different elements are that really imparted on me the aspect of life that we are all connected, and even though we are in a small town in the middle of South Africa, that your impact can be felt beyond that. And so it was both the field of study, economics, and then also being on campus in a city that was different from where I grew up, that really inspired me to think big and to think globally and to think about how I can contribute to the world and also be in the world. And so that really shaped my outlook and how I could be a global thinker. I can't tell you how profound representing Namibia at the United Nations General Assembly was for me. It stands there as one of the proudest achievements of my life. So the delegation arrives before the president, and we were there in this briefing room. The Minister of Foreign Affairs at the time was a woman called Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah. And we were sitting at this table, and then she asked all of the delegates, and one of the questions that she asked was, whose first time is this coming to the UN? And I raised my hand and I was the only one there. And then she looked at me and she said, find your passion, find something that you're passionate about, and you're here, the most powerful people are here. Find that passion, find that cause, and fight for it. Go through these halls, go through the assembly, and go sit into those discussions, raise your voice, and make your voice heard. And then she raised an example of the first time that she was at the United Nations General Assembly during Namibia's struggle for liberation, and how she used her voice and she used that platform, the most important platform in the world, raising awareness about the plight of Namibians under oppression and how the fight for Namibia's liberation, Namibia's independence, was everyone's struggle. That stayed with me throughout these years. And today, Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah was the first female president of Namibia. It's incredible, and I can't tell you how you really need to slow down when you are in these sort of like big moments and big settings, because you're always thinking about big picture, but sometimes life happens on the margins and in those small moments, and those are the moments that have the most profound impact on you. And that is something that has stayed with me. If I can go back, and the piece of advice that I will give myself, either 18-year-old Suta starting off at the Northwest University or in high school or anywhere, is be bold. Don't hold yourself back. The world is much bigger than you think, and you're a part of it. Sometimes in life, we are always interested in impact. We're interested in like the big things that we want to push forward, and then that drives us, and that is important. But sometimes it's also okay to start small, to change paths, and to know that whatever you do, that it comes from the right place. In 2016, I quit my job as an investment strategist, a very high-flying job with great potential. And I quit that job and I moved to the Middle East. I moved to Lebanon to go volunteer on capacity development projects and youth engagement projects, working with Syrian refugees there. And being in a culture, a context, a country that was so opposite to where I grew up, was so different. Not just the language, not just the religion, but also the food that people ate. And that moment stands out as the most transformative, because then that's when I first saw the world truly as interconnected, that everyone has a role to play in it. So that was very important in just sort of like opening up my mind to a different perspective and to a different worldview. I think there are several moments and several people who have influenced and shaped how I think and how I move through the world in either sort of like big or minuscule ways. And I remember there was a family, the Fotis, who were so incredibly generous with their time. And as an international student coming to not just a new city, but a new country, there was instances where I felt homesick. There was instances of, insecurity. Am I doing the right thing? Am my academics, am my grades up to scratch? And then just having someone to go to that felt like a family base, and have those conversations was very important in my grounding in both in my time at university, but then also in my academics, and it gave me that bit of confidence in that step. And then there's also the conversations that I've had with lecturers, fellow students that have stayed with me, and some of those students and some of those lecturers are out in the world doing amazing things, and those continue to influence and shape how I think, how I approach problem solving, and then just also really inspired by some of the stuff that they're doing out in the world. And I think about the work that I do and just sort of how lucky that we all were that we had this moment together at the Northwest University.